All right, real quick, Craig's Corner. This is going to be one of the first of who knows how many dialogue videos, but there's a handful of things I want to talk about. Number one, today I want to talk about bodybuilding being an art form, and something that I learned over the last, I would say, 4 years for sure, in building my own physique. If I were to show you pictures of what I looked like 5 years ago to today, you wouldn't even think I was the same person. I'm 35, 40 pounds of muscle, head to toe, heavier, and that's lean muscle. That ain't, body fat. My body fat today is the same as it was then. And that's intentional. I do that purposely because I like to maintain a fit, lean physique all year round. To me, that's healthy. I feel good. I like to be able to, fit in my clothes, and I don't want to feel bloated. I don't like that look. I don't like that feeling. So, on another note, another reason why I like to stay lean, and what I've been doing over the last 4 to 5 years of bodybuilding, is putting on mass, but also at the same time sculpting something out that a picture that I have in my mind. And that's really what I mean by the artistry of bodybuilding. I have inspirations that I look up to, but for me personally, it's about sculpting something out of, really, I don't want to say nothing, but sculpting something out of, what I'm genetically given. And as much as I hate to use the terminology genetics, because as true as that is, I don't like to use that as a crutch or an excuse to explain away why I can't be the best in my craft. The truth is that, when I look at myself, I always see room for improvement. And I think that's been one of my biggest strengths in bodybuilding, is that I'm not stuck in this mentality that, I can't be better based on my genetics. I've transformed my body over the last 4.5, 5 years. I started bodybuilding a year before I earned my pro card in men's physique in the IFBB. So, you might think that's crazy or it's not true, but the fact it's 100% true. I started lifting weights at a young age when I was adolescent, but it was very, very, I would say, what's the terminology? Maybe, uneducated. It was certainly not multifaceted. I mean, I did 1 or 2 exercises and that was it. And that was the extent of it until I joined the gym, at that point I was just a guy going to the gym, just like everybody else. I did not understand the intellectual side of bodybuilding, and it was when I understood that, when I started to seek knowledge, is when my body changed. Now, I mean, I'm certainly not Phil Heath or Kai Green or any of these guys, but in my opinion, you gotta have that artistic mind. You have to be able to see what you want, and you got to be able to create it based on movements. So in bodybuilding, the movements is the stroke of the brush. Every single stroke of the brush is a repetition. You have to understand that every repetition on every set, there's a purpose for it. It's not just about pumping and pumping and pumping. It's about understanding what muscles are being targeted and what it's actually doing to your body. One of my biggest strengths now is my back. I mean, that was something that was probably my biggest weak point 5 years ago. I had virtually no definition in my back, and if you look at some of my most recent photos of my back, I mean, I've really chiseled out my rhomboids and my posterior delts and my lats. Everything's quite developed now, and there's a lot of thickness and girth, and that was never there. And I got that based on the way that I started lifting, and that was that mind-body connection and understanding that it's all about the technique and being really strict in that technique. There's a time to be loose or liberal, but I would say 99% of the time when I'm in the gym, I'm extremely strict. And I took that from guys like Dorian Yates and Jay Cutler and guys that I look up to and respect in the world of bodybuilding. And I think that is so important when you're looking to build and when you're looking to carve. So in combination with that, of course, high repetition and moderate repetition and pyramiding and all these things. But most importantly, in my opinion, it's the art of understanding what it is that you're doing and the art of contraction. And to me, that in that process, in that philosophy, you're always going to be able to build something really special. Like I said, I started bodybuilding a year before I earned my pro card, and from when I earned my pro card till now, I believe that my body has even transformed dramatically since then. So it's an ongoing process, and it's never, Michelangelo said a piece of art is never completed; it's only abandoned temporarily, and that's really how I look at it. When I hit chest or when I hit legs, I do what I need to do, and I abandon it temporarily. And while I abandon it, I'm feeding myself, I'm resting, I'm living a clean lifestyle. This isn't just about being in the gym. This is about being in the gym. It's about being on point at home. It's about being on point in every facet of your life and keeping the stress levels low. And to me, that's the most important thing. It's balance, and being able to create that in the gym and being able to have that outside of the gym, to me, totally transformed the way that I look. And the fact that I earn a pro card is 100%. That's why I earned a pro card. It's because I started to understand that I was working out for 10 years before that, but my body was, I mean, it was mediocre at best. And, there's always room for improvement, but, I totally transformed the way I looked. And I want it to be an inspiration to all of you, because I believe that you can have the same thing too. It's just really mentality. A lot of you out there might be feeling that you hit a plateau of some kind, and you're just not getting any more gains, or maybe things aren't going right for you. But I'm willing to bet that a big portion of it is how you look at what you're doing, how you're looking at the craft. You have to treat it like it's your craft. You have to treat it like it's your business. You have to treat it like it's your game. And once you start to do that, you start to develop amazing habits, and those good habits turn into big results. So habits, those good habits turn into big results. And it's just like anything else. The more time you put into it, the more diligence you put into it, the more focus you put into it, you start to develop this philosophy, and the philosophy will drive you to success. And for me, that's how I was able to do it. And so that's why I call it the art of bodybuilding. It is an art. It's just like sculpting. It's like painting. It's a process, and you have to be diligent and strict to that process. And I don't care what anybody says. It is a fact. And I mean, anyone at the top of their game, any pro athlete will tell you that this is a game of artistry. It's about creating something incredible from the workings of the inner mind, the beauty of being able to take an abstract thought and make that reality is amazing. And I've been fortunate enough to, in my limited professional career, I've been fortunate enough to stand up against some of the best athletes in men's physique, probably to top 5 in Olympia, in the Olympia. So I'm fortunate that way. For me, winning is being able to do what I love, and regardless of placings, it's being able to do what I love. It's being able to do what I'm doing right here, right now. And I all the power to you guys. I think that if you guys have a big dream, I think you should chase it. But put a little bit of thought into it. Be intellectual. And I think if you treat it like an intellectual sport, this is a game of intellect. You put that on paper. You use your creativity to build something special, and you align every single action in the gym, every single action outside the gym, to that philosophy, to that, and I guarantee you guys you'll seek tremendous results. And so anyways, all the power to you. The art of bodybuilding, it is an art. Treat it like an art, and you will paint a masterpiece. I promise you that. Peace out. Craig's Corner. Until next time.